Welcome back to Worship Guitar Lab. We've been taking a little bit of a break here. I took the opportunity to redo my office, so I hope you enjoyed the new background. Today, we're going to be talking about good guitar tone and what are some of the elements that go into having good tone. So let's jump right in. One of the first things that comes in mind to me when it comes to having good tone is that your tone fits the style of music that you're playing. So if you have a more relaxed song, you're gonna want your tone to sound one way, whereas you're playing a really energetic rock song, you're gonna want that tone to be completely different. And the tools that you use to achieve that are gonna also vary. Having a tone that matches the style of what you're playing is really important. I think it drives artistically, it helps with musicality and having it all look and feel like it goes together. Also, it doesn't distract from worship. I think that's supremely important that your tone matches the style of music or the spirit of what's going on there, as to not draw people's attention away from the music and the spirit of the song and onto you. So it matches and integrates. One of the first things from a gear perspective that comes to mind is obviously the guitar you're using. Now, one of the things that I think we're going to break down a little bit as we go through this discussion on tone is all the little things. I think a big part of having good tone is all the little pieces that add up to your total sound. All of those little pieces really, really do matter. And the first part of the chain always starts with a good guitar. And by a good guitar, I don't mean the most expensive or the coolest looking, one that is going to deliver the highest fidelity, the clearest signal to start from. Starting off with guitar as the first item in your chain, to me, the one that quickly comes to mind right after that is these guys, your fingers. So much of good guitar tone, actually, believe it or not, comes from your fingers and your personal style of playing. So let's take, for example, someone that you'd really admire as a guitar player. I really admire John Mayer as a stylistic guitar player. So let's take him, we'll give him a $300 starter Squier, right? If he plays that through his gear, it's still gonna sound like him, right? His tone and his personality is gonna come right through that. You wouldn't be able to mistake it. It would sound just like his playing. Keeping that in mind, it's really important to remember that since that tone does come, I think, in large majority from your fingers, it's good to not focus too much on having the right amp, having the right pedals, having the newest everything, and really getting down to the bare bones of like focusing on your technique. Focusing on your personal style and what kind of a flavor you want to bring to the song. You know, starting off playing guitar, as I started to jam with more and more people, a friend of a friend, this guy named Justin Weaver, came and he played with us. And I was playing a lot of the same licks that he was playing, but one thing that really stood out to me is the way he played them sounded 10 times better than what I was doing. So that really made me realize, like, man, it's not just what you play, but how you play it makes an enormous difference. Here's a quick 3-note example to show you what I'm talking about. This first example is just going to be really simple 3 notes. Now let's take those same 3 notes and play them with a little more style. See what I mean? Giant difference, right? As a final point in our discussion on tone, it's all in the details. All the little connectors between your guitar and your final output all really do matter. I know it's easy to just buy the cheapest connector pedals and the little patch cables. I've done the same thing, and my next pedal board that I'm getting ready to build, I'm gonna actually go through and use premium cables, Mugami, for everything, you know, the square plug ends, make sure everything's really nice and hard soldered. I'd like to stay away from the solderless connections. They sound great and convenient, but they just don't provide the stability that I'm looking for, and making sure none of my connections fall loose and things like that. So all those little things from beginning to end, down your entire chain, all those little things, connectors to the pedals, to the amp. All of those little pieces actually really do matter. And having fidelity through that and not losing quality along that way goes a huge way into maintaining your good tone. In closing, tone is not a destination, it's a continual thing that we're just always going through. It's a continual process of discovery. I know that in my years and years of playing, I am almost never satisfied. I'm always looking for just a little bit cleaner, a little more edgy in this part, and when I add that new layer of drive. I hope you found this valuable. Please comment below if you have any questions or any thoughts. We'll see you next time.